smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
So on a recent Patreon episode titled Building the Chi, Joe Budden called out QueenzFlip for allegedly stealing takes from people online without crediting them. Joe Budden has been receiving a lot of feedback from listeners that the Joe Budden podcast has been recycling takes, phrases, and even overall swag from Twitter Spaces, bringing it onto the podcast without proper acknowledgement. It's crazy. Some people have even argued that the spaces are more entertaining than the podcast itself. I don't know. Now, about a week ago, Joe Budden actually hosted a space to address some of these complaints. However, instead of seriously engaging with the concerns, he quickly dismissed them, claiming that listeners had gone crazy. But then he let me up on stage. And I took the opportunity to call him out for using the phrase, "We have one more hour, let's make it count." Now, that came from another online creator. And rather than just addressing my point directly, Joe sidestepped the comment, claiming that we just don't understand his humor. So now he wants to be humorous when he gets caught. Typical Joe Budden move, but he went and called out QueenzFlip for trying to take Jazz the Rapper's take. I don't know, man. This dude is like a real big hypocrite, right? You feel me? Now, let's look at this clip of him calling out QueenzFlip. Look at the files.
A brown egg is not more nutritious than a white egg, nigga. They the same. What happens is the difference between the chickens that's making the egg. I didn't know that, nigga. They had me fooled.
What's the difference between the chickens?
This is why you get us caught up, because you stealing Jazz the Rapper whole internet take.
Yeah, I learned that.
Without crediting that I watched Jazz the Rapper.
I'm
and
about
I learned
to say
that
it.
Brown, and this is why I go in the room and get all of this heat about being unresearched and stealing.
But Jazz don't mind me saying this because she know I'm a shout out.
Shout out.
See, this is what you do when you speak to the people and they give a complaint. You try to implement it in real time, nigga. I be in there with you.
I saw the brown white egg shit, but without
implement them, what they say to you because you take credit. Oh, I love what y'all say. You can't implement that on me. Fuck them niggas, nigga. And it'll be fuck you too.
I want to hear original thoughts from you. I don't give a fuck about Jazz learning about eggs, nigga. I want to learn about you.
I learned that as well.
One egg was African and one egg was European.
No, but Jazz said with Geechee Gotti, yes. But Jazz said that.
Woo! All right, now after watching that clip, I can understand why QueenzFlip is mad at Joe for putting him on blast like that. Flip has a close relationship with Jazz the Rapper from the battle rap community. He recognized how Joe tried to weaponize people from X, formerly known as Twitter, and Spaces to clear his own name while shifting the blame onto Flip. Joe Budden always plays these types of games, setting up the chessboard for a checkmate later in the conversation. This was a classic example. Joe was trying to plant the seed in the audience's mind that Flip is the one stealing takes, when in reality, Joe has been the one taking things from Spaces and integrating them into his own content. Now, let's be clear. Flip was wrong for not initially shouting out Jazz, but given their close relationship, he likely knew Jazz wouldn't care. In Flip's defense, I believe he was simply interested in the topic and decided to bring it up on the podcast, but Joe saw it as an opportunity and immediately flipped it on him, using it as a way to deflect from the real issue at hand, people calling him out for stealing takes. Now, let's not get it twisted. This wasn't about Flip using Jazz's takes. This was about Joe trying to shift blame. It wasn't right for him to throw Flip under the bus for sharing what Jazz posted online, especially when Flip likely would have credited her once, the conversation developed. You feel me? Like, I'm pretty sure Flip would have. But Joe saw the opening and took it. Joe is a master manipulator. He knows how to get under people's skin, and in this case, he got exactly the reaction he wanted. Flip immediately got defensive and told Joe, "Don't take the complaints that people are saying about you and try to put them on me." he's really talking about the people from the spaces. Flip made it clear that he doesn't care about online critiques, telling Joe that if he kept it up, he'll put him in the same category as the haters. Saying F them and it'll be F you too. Joe, he threw a little jab in there too, though, saying that he wants to hear an original take from QueenzFlip, his original thoughts. Now, that comment is interesting. Is Joe onto something? Is that a jab? Is that something like we haven't really caught yet? Could there be more than, just this Jazz the Rapper situation? Has Flip been subtly sliding in other takes from online spaces, acting like he's coming up with them in real time, when in reality, he's just, repackaging them? That's crazy. This raises a bigger question. How much do they steal from spaces? How much do they steal and remix it? How much is organic thoughts? Could Flip be just doing what Joe is doing on a smaller scale? Is this what he's learning? You never know. We may have to go back and investigate Flip's takes on the pod to see if there's a pattern, to see if he's always been doing this. Is there something that, why would Joe say that? Why would he say, I want to hear an original take? I don't know. It's kind of spicy, he throwing stuff out there. I'm like, is Flip remixing mad stuff? Is he just saying I'm learning in real time, but really fronting on the takes? I'm like, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Joe Budden really steals takes from spaces, or is the audience reaching? Was Joe being unfair to Flip, or was this a necessary call out? And should podcasters always credit their sources, or is it fair game to take inspiration from conversations happening online? And who do you think is more entertaining, Joe Budden's podcast or the Twitter Spaces conversations from, that people claim he's borrowing from? And have you ever noticed any other instances where Flip or Joe have taken online discussions and repurposed them for the pod? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let's talk about it. And we'll be back with the files.
Who the fuck has a problem with Dub? Dub didn't do nothing to nobody. Dub ain't do nothing but drop that interview and shake the streets up. All Dub did was give y'all his blood, sweat, and tears through the content. And this how he's treated?
You recently had some commentary on Joe Budden and the host of the Joe Budden podcast. Talk to me about Joe Budden. Do you have beef with him?
There's no beef. Joe Budden talks about everybody, and so if he's running around butt naked pressing on people's doorbells, and of course someone's gonna say something about him.
Yeah.
Are we not?
This is a new one. He beat that case.
No. He didn't beat that. You don't. How do you play? You don't beat it. Went away. What do you do? He paid somebody. You don't beat that.
My guy Dub too. That's my man though.
Gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.